Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of HBCU Future Leaders Roundtable, sponsored by AT&T LeaderLab. I'm Sharonda Hill, and I'm the Senior Project Program Manager for AT&T's HBCU Future Leaders, and I'm also your moderator today. As in previous broadcasts, the purpose of these conversations is to highlight AT&T's continued commitment to building and fostering a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce. Last year, we received a directive from Corey Anthony, our Chief Diversity and Development Officer, which still holds true today, that all AT&T leaders must use their voice, their influence, and their network to stand for equality. I believe his favorite phrase is diversity drives innovation. And that fact was driven home very recently with the 2022 HBCU Innovation Challenge. 13 teams from 8 HBCUs, including Howard, Morehouse, and Spelman, vied for not just bragging rights, but cold hard cash. Over $100,000 in prize money was handed out on Monday to 3 teams comprised of HBCU students. And I had the opportunity and the pleasure to judge 3 of the 13 on the final day of judging. And let me tell you, my mind was completely blown. Phenomenal work, Jasmine Harrison, and congratulations again to the top 3 teams from Howard University and Morgan State University. I definitely look forward to what next year's Innovation Challenge brings. Which brings us to the focus of today's conversation, not just acknowledging the diverse talent that HBCUs turn out year after year, but to discuss the transformational work that's being done at AT&T to recruit, retain, and cultivate that talent that'll propel us forward in the equality space. In this edition of the Roundtable, we've invited AT&T leaders to discuss the why that fuels them to remove roadblocks to success for HBCU and other diverse standouts, and to bring us up to speed on the DE&I work within their organizations that's designed to uplift and empower diverse talent across the company and in the communities. But rather than relying solely on AT&T leaders and HBCU experts to discuss the importance of recruiting and retaining Black talent, we're actually bringing HBCU students to the roundtable to highlight their stellar achievements and to offer insights into why it remains important for AT&T and other companies to continue to nurture and cultivate relationships with HBCUs across the nation. As we do with all our roundtable discussions, we want you to be thoughtful about the conversation shared today. We simply don't have the conversations just to repeat certain phrases, but to challenge conventional thinking and encourage each of us to show up differently than we did the day before. But I would be remiss if I started this conversation without acknowledging the horrific and actually senseless terror of recent bomb threats on HBCU campuses across the nation. Since January, students at nearly 20 HBCUs across 5 states and the District of Columbia have received email and or text messages alerting them to shelter in place because of credible threats of an explosive device on those campuses. On February 1st, which was the start of Black History Month, 5 different campuses were targeted in one day. While no actual devices were found, the anxiety and the fear that those threats cause the students, their parents, the faculty, and loved ones cannot be overstated. Today, it is evident that these threats against historically Black institutions have a legacy rooted in white supremacy, and hate has fueled these threats to deter Black excellence and education, which is why conversations like the one today are vitally important. Because hate will not triumph. As Carolyn Johnson, CEO of Diversity Inc., stated at the close of the last discussion, inclusion is not a strategy to help people fit into the systems and structures which exist in our societies. It is about transforming those systems and structures to make it better for everyone. So let's get into it. Now, we have saved some time at the end of the discussion for Q&A, so please start sending your questions now. And as always, feedback is crucial to the success of our program. Please take a few minutes at the end of the broadcast to complete the survey that'll be pushed to your screens. Okay, I am super excited to introduce our panelists today, but before I formally introduce them, let's take a look at some of their achievements. Let's roll the video.
Established on October 3rd, 1887, with top-ranked students from around the country and located in Florida's capital city, sitting on the highest of 7 hills.
Nearly 200 registered organizations focusing on cultural awareness, community service, publications, and academics.
Being ranked the #1 public HBCU not only is a privilege, but it's a responsibility.
This responsibility comes with good leadership. Good leadership comes with
Xavier McClinton
and Carrington Wiggum
as your student body president
and your student body vice president. I know what you're thinking. You need university electives to keep everything that makes FAMU, FAMU. 2 individuals who will put FAMU first.
So this actually all started out as a simple class assignment. I immediately thought about the roots that we have as African Americans, the ties that we have in this country, and how can that be shown through art. It was all about creating something of pride, creating something impactful for Black History Month. So it feels amazing to see my design sold across the country. Just the initial response that I received from my community, it was tremendous. I don't know where I'm going next, but I know it's up.
Wow. Joining us from the Bemis Architecture Lab on the campus of Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia, is Trajan Baker, a third-year architectural design student. As you can see from the video, Trey sees the world through a creative lens that grants him the ability to turn visions into reality. His love of both musical and visual arts formed at an early age, and he's continued to develop his skill sets throughout the years. He believes that art in any form is the truest expression of one's spirit. He was recently named one of 10 winners in Target's HBCU Black History Month Challenge to create and design a Black History Month themed shirt. And I'm wearing that design today. We Rise, which can be purchased at Target. Also joining us is Carrington Wiggum from Tallahassee, Florida. Carrington is a 4th-year broadcast journalism major and theater minor at Florida A&M University. Carrington is fully immersed in the college experience. She currently serves as the president of FAMU's Student Government Association, a distinction that was not held by a woman for 6 years. She is also a proud member of the original Beta Alpha chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, where she serves as the Connections Chair. While her campus life is very full, Carrington excels in the classroom as well, having been selected as an external and legislative affairs intern at AT&T in 2021. Prior to her AT&T internship, Carrington also completed 2 summer internships with Texas Senator Royce West through the Dr. Emmett J. Conrad Leadership Program. Now from AT&T, I'd like to introduce LaVon Wilson. LaVon is the Director of Marketing Technology in the Consumer Wireless Organization. In this role, she's responsible for the deployment of service, legal mandate marketing communications for all AT&T products via various channels, such as email, SMS, and direct mail. She manages a portfolio of campaign platform tools and has oversight over marketing compliance and data governance for a consumer marketing organization. LaVon started her career at Bell South in the Finance Leadership Development Program, lovingly known as FLDP, and spent 12 years under the finance organization working in the areas of financial planning, forecasting, and financial analyst. LaVon currently resides in Torrance, California with her son, Jeremiah. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and she holds a bachelor's degree in physics along with a dual concentration MBA in finance and decision science from Clark Atlanta University. And last but certainly not least, joining us from Dallas, Texas, is Lisa Watson. Lisa is a director, Technical Project Program Management in the Network Engineering and Operations Organization. But Lisa likes to say she's leading culture and talent for the ACE organization. She's responsible for partnering with multiple programs to attract, retain, and grow diverse talent. Lisa started her career as a construction splicing technician in 1997, then continued to grow in various network organizations for the next 21 years. Prior to her current role, I love this. She was what was called a fiber alchemist. A fancy title she likes to say was given to her by Stacey Thompson. But as a fiber alchemist, Lisa led creative, customer-focused fiber growth initiatives throughout the regions to increase fiber awareness and to bring more customers onto the largest fiber network in the world. Lisa received both an associate's and a bachelor's degree from Pace University in the Big Apple, with concentration in wireless networking and computer science. Whew, that was a mouthful. Welcome, everyone. All righty. So we have a lot to cover. Let's just jump right in. Trey, I definitely want to talk to you about your many achievements, but I first need to address the bomb threats that Hampton University has received as recently as last Wednesday. The threat of violence was, I guess you consider it normal during the civil rights era of the 50s and 60s. What are your thoughts around living through continuous threats to your safety while doing something as simple as trying to get an education?
Right. So, yeah, thank you for that question. And it's definitely an important topic, for us to discuss. As HBCU students, we're simply, trying to go to our classes each day to get an education. At the end of the day, that's what, we're there for. And to have these threats, so often and so continuously, I would say for me, all they are deterrents. People are seeing, the legacy of HBCUs, are seeing what we're working towards as a people. And all these attempts are attempts to deter us, attempts to, throw us off course. I remember when I got the email from Hampton University, I was sitting in my architecture studio doing work at 9 a.m. And I get this email, and all of a sudden my focus is totally shifted, from the work that I was previously doing. And I didn't get any more work done, after that, because everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So that's exactly what they're trying to do. And I feel like, as a people, we have to just remain resilient in times of that and continue to excel regardless.
I love that. I love that. So let's kind of keep that thought going. You deterring your focus. You're a very smart individual. You have a lot of talent. You had, I'm sure, opportunities and options to go to multiple different colleges. Why was it important for you to attend an HBCU, and why Hampton?
All right. Yeah. So thank you for that question. HBCUs, for me, it's all about finding yourself. It's all about coming to a place where you feel represented and you feel like you can excel, unconditionally. No one's going to look at you in a way that's like, why do you feel like you belong here? Why do you feel like you can continue to achieve all of these things? You're a Black man. And I've never felt that at my HBCU. It's been nothing but support, nothing but love. I found my passion at my HBCU, and that came as a direct result of the inspiration that I found amongst the other Hamptonians. So just being in that culture, being in that environment, it does a lot for the individual. And I've experienced so much growth since attending Hampton.
I love that. And I will tell you, I am not, unfortunately, a graduate of an HBCU, but the more I work with the HBCU students, the more I want to find another degree to go back and get from an HBCU. So you guys, seriously, y'all inspire me. But I kind of want to jump over to Carrington really quick and kind of keep this line of thinking going just a little bit. Let's talk about your FAMU story and legacy. Why was it important for you to, because we talked a little bit earlier, why was it important for you to attend not just any HBCU, but why attending FAMU was your choice?
Yeah, so thank you for that question, because it's something that I got ever since I was 18 years old, before I graduated high school. Since there are some Dallas, Texas natives, I am from Dallas, Texas. I went to Booker T. Washington High School for Performing and Visual Arts. And so there is where you get accepted and you literally train 4 years for a college showcase. And there's when all the top nation conservatories are there. Like, I just don't even want to get into the names. Wonderful, wonderful schools. And I was a theater major. And so I got great callbacks to all these universities, but I did the auditions knowing exactly what my heart was set on. And so when I was in Dallas, I didn't realize this, but FAMU was so engraved in my bloodline. Like we say, I've been bleeding orange and green since I was a child. I remember literally driving down the highway and my dad playing Marching 100. That's our band, Marching 100 music. And I hated it. I'm like, please, can we listen to Chris Brown? You keep playing all this marching band stuff. But as I got older, I appreciated it. And so I am a third generation rattler. And so that was instilled in me because the stories that my grandmother and grandfather went through, and I can see those landmarks on our campus that mean so much, and to know that they were once here walking the same path as me literally only just encourages me and motivates me to keep going for those who have paved the way. So choosing an HBCU was always in my books. And then I also never realized that both of my parents were HBCU grads, right? That's something I so appreciate that was in our household for me to hold on to. But choosing an HBCU was a dub. But choosing FAMU was even more instilled. I literally had only one option. What happened was I visited during homecoming and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't even care. Like, that was the time to be there. So right after that moment, I knew it. And then my dad also was Student Government Association president. So his experiences being super involved on campus just literally just set the tone.
You mentioned homecoming. I was thinking as you were talking, being a third generation Rattler, homecoming around your house must be fire because you've got three. I can imagine. So just like Trey, both of you actually were named as finalists for AT&T's Dreaming Black Rising Future Maker. What did receiving those accolades mean to you? And tell me why opportunities like Dreaming Black are important to diverse students.
So when I saw the opportunity come up, it was just, I was nervous about it because I knew that coming from a pool of HBCU students, that was going to be competitive. But becoming a finalist was the highlight of my senior year. It was just something that it signified that the work that I'm doing is good work. I've worked and now it's like, okay, being a part of something so awesome just surrounds me and equips me with the network to be around young individuals, young professionals that are just striving and we have like-minded drives. So becoming a finalist was literally everything. It was so fun. We talk every day still since December. It was just like learning and gaining a new family of, like I said, like-minded individuals. And then with a company like AT&T, which I interned with before, to know and to be a part of their investments and to now have another family like the AT&T family, it just was everything. It was right on time for me.
I will tell you that I actually had the opportunity and the privilege to judge some of the video submissions that came in through you guys. And I was ecstatic because, and I will, some of my peers here will tell you that I was like the proud auntie when I saw your name because you were an intern here. And so I knew your name from the internship and I was like, oh yes, Carrington. So I was super proud to see that you guys, both of you had nominated and been and were selected as that. Trey, I want to jump back to you really quickly and talk about the video we saw earlier. You mentioned that you got your inspiration for the winning design for Target HBCU from Black America's own history. Why is it important for you to create a space in art and architectural design to showcase our history in your work?
Right. So thank you for that question. So for me as an artist, as an aspiring architect, the work that I produce is a direct reflection of what I represent as an individual. And because I'm a Black man, what I represent is also what we represent as a community. So when I have the opportunity to produce artwork, to produce architecture, I do so in a way that speaks to a message, speaks to something that I'm trying to communicate with the rest of the world. So when I came across this Target competition, I thought, Trey, this is a great opportunity for you to, do something that you already do, which is putting art on clothing and allowing your message to really be felt through that design. So my design was actually inspired by Emancipation Oak, which sits on the campus of Hampton University. And that's where the first reading of the Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln took place. So just having that as the design's inspiration, anytime I see somebody wearing the hoodie, it's like, okay, you are representing our story, and it brings so much pride to me as an individual, as an artist.
That is awesome. Like, I will tell you that you guys, both you and Carrington, I should stop saying guys, both you and Carrington are just phenomenal. I'm so impressed by your level of professionalism and the work that you've done thus far in your college careers. I can only imagine, what your careers ahead, going forward, what are going to look like. And with that, I kind of want to jump to you, Levon. I have one of you guys. I don't want you to think I've forgotten about you. But this kind of brings into focus some of the work that you and your peers are doing at some of the smaller HBCUs to prepare students to transition from college to corporate America, which for me, just hearing about it was outstanding. Talk to me about the program curriculum and offerings and how it's going and how it's going to make an impact for those students. And are there any plans to expand the program?
Sure. Thanks, Sharonda. We've basically been working, and I'm from the Meta organization, Marketing, Enablement, Technology, and Analytics. My leadership is Jenna Whitmire, and she has supported this work. My colleague and I, Jerome Kemp, make all of this happen, along with all of our colleagues that participate in all of our different series that we ask them to speak in. So we've done a few things. We had a professional development series with 7 sessions on things like interviewing, resume writing, strategy, analytics, leadership, effective communication. We also did a career readiness module with Fort Valley State. And we've been working primarily with Fort Valley State and Clark Atlanta University, and I'll get on to expansion later. But those have been our primary audiences. And the career readiness module just basically was 5 sessions, gave them tools. There's lots of literature. There's lots of online resources that we made available to them as well. Something really exciting that we've done, it still hasn't quite gotten off of the ground, but we did submit special topics in business analytics course for review at Fort Valley State. And this is a 16-session course that's actually going to be 4 credits. It's 3 credits. If we can get it approved, it'll be different topics in business analytics. And we wanted to create this to give students an opportunity to learn more about analytics. This is kind of our area. Curriculum is very difficult to change. So they approached us about doing this special topics course, and we're trying to get that approved. We've been able to secure some financial contributions from AT&T for Fort Valley State and Clark Atlanta University to help try to support some of this programming that we're doing. In the spring, we will do another 3 sessions. Due to COVID, things have been kind of as you go, right? Semesters have been shortened. Students are overwhelmed with Zoom. Just Zoom fatigue is really bad. So we've had to scale back a little bit, but hopefully next year we'll get on a good footing and go back to kind of our normal programming and maybe be able to add more. We're always happy to do interview prep on the side, as well as any kind of resume reviews. And it's really just about grabbing our colleagues and getting people to pitch in and help. So we're very happy with the work that we've done thus far. Expanding, we would love to help as many people as we can. We're all about trying to create a truly diverse pipeline. So anything that we can do, it's not as structured. It's just we're going to do everything that we can to help. So that's it. Did that answer your question, Sharonda?
Yes. And I feel like, the work, like I said, the work that you guys are doing, the bringing that to the students and offering as credits. So getting credit towards graduation. So I commend you guys. and look forward to seeing where this can expand to. I know that you and I have talked about expanding this into the offerings for our HBCU Future Leaders program. So hopefully we'll be able to get that going and worked out. So, but as I asked Trey and also Carrington earlier about the importance of programs like Dream in Black, I wanted to kind of bring that to you and ask you about the importance of those programs to the opportunities that you guys are doing, and how does it help, or what can we do? What can those programs do to help kind of encourage or bring opportunities for students?
Yeah, sure. I think that programs like that are important because any chance for exposure or for any of those students to gain any insight into AT&T, into the corporate world, any opportunity like that gives them gives them a chance to broaden their skill sets. And I just think we need to create more things like that in order to really, really build an authentic relationship with HBCUs and continue to enhance our diverse talent pipeline. We need diversity. We want to be about it. We're not just talking about it. We authentically care, and it's really important that everybody prioritizes it here.
I cannot agree with you more. So Lisa, we are going to bring you into this conversation just really right now, and just ask you, in your current role, you're responsible for bridging the gap of opportunities for many people, current and future employees, who may otherwise, been overlooked for promotion or opportunity or advancement, not because they don't have the skills or the expertise, but due to a lack of visibility with leaders who are making those hiring decisions. Let's talk about AT&T's commitment, and we're talking about, where the rubber meets the road, and what you and your team are currently doing to change that narrative and the opportunities that'll come with it. So let us know what's going on.
Sure. I think, with this new opportunity, it gives me the ability to be transparent for those opportunities, Sharonda. So I'm excited because I think of myself and my team as where the rubber meets the road. We're looking at it from a technician level to management level to leadership level. I think LaVon hit a lot of great points. It is important to us. It is a priority. And we have to make sure that everybody knows that there's opportunity. So my team is going to work on the exposure for those opportunities, make sure they're transparent, make sure we're advocating and supporting, and that they're not being overlooked. If you want to go back a few years with me, you spoke a little bit about my career, 25 years. When I started as a technician, I didn't know all the opportunities. I didn't understand everything within AT&T. So I started building my network very early on to be able to understand where those opportunities were and what I could do next. I had to get out of the field, and I went into engineering with no college degree. I had to really lean on my supporters and my advocates as I started growing my network to be able to move to the next level. And so I think it's really important that we grow our network and we understand what those opportunities are, but they have to be visible to us. And I really am working hard to do that because I was sitting in that seat 25 years ago.
Okay. And so speaking of sitting in that seat, as you've navigated your career, what perspectives have helped you informed how you structure a team today?
Sure. So I think it is about building your network, and it's understanding all the pieces to it. It's leading through it. It's not letting, and Trey said something that was completely inspiring. Don't let things deter you. I was on the road, determined, no matter that I had barely had any college. I really didn't follow the traditional footsteps. I got my degree at 40 years old, y'all, working full time through the company. There's so much opportunity within AT&T for training and for any type of degree or certificate. There's so many opportunities, but Sharonda, I will hit it again. It has to be visible. People have to know it's out there. And I want to ensure that the folks that are coming on hiring into, or the partnerships that we have with even HBCUs and other partnerships, that all of that is transparent, and that there is a human always behind a resume. And for me, that's the most important piece, because you can't tell a story without the human part, and we all have a unique story. And I think it's our voices, and we can tell those unique stories. And I ask every single one of my mentors, my advocates, when I'm interviewing for jobs, and I've interviewed for a ton of jobs and haven't always gotten them, but I've learned from each one of them, and I've done things differently. But I always ask the one question I think that gets me the best answers is, how are you going to help me continue my unique story here at AT&T? I did not come in through a program. I came in off the street. Like I said, I was very young. I didn't have any college. And so AT&T trained me, and they taught me a lot of different skill sets that I utilize today. My portfolio is pretty diverse. And so I never forget where I come from either, Sharonda. So I was a technician, and I learned everything by my advocates and my supporters and my network. So I think building your network is key.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. And so that makes me want to jump back to Carrington, talking about Lisa, you talking about opportunities and that are available. So this is an opportunity, and I know that you have lots of opportunities that have come your way. But I kind of want to ask you, how important is it for you and your peers to be parts of conversations like these?
Right. So I feel like it's all about representation. That's actually very interesting you asked that, because I am a journalism student, and one of the questions for our thesis, just to reminisce on why we wanted to join this field anyway, the why comes from, why is it important for us, for our faces, for our community to be in conversations like this? Because one, there are so many stereotypes that we have to dismantle. And that's just going to come back from representation. So I need to make sure that I'm a part of these conversations to be that someone that no one knew existed, because there's no right answer. There's no one way. There's no correct way to be anything. So when we join conversations like this, we're having good representation, which is so important, so transferable across the board, right? And then also allowing people the space to wonder, to question, so we can be the ones who are already in the position to answer it for them and lead the way.
I love that. Yeah. So allowing people to have the space. And I will say that we were intentional about who we invited or who we opened this opportunity up to. Of course, lots of your peers at other colleges, at FAMU and North Carolina A&T. We've got folks that are logging in from Howard University. So we've got lots of college students, but we've also invited some students who are making those decisions about college. They're still in high school right now that are watching. And to those students who have had the support or the support system, or who maybe not even sure that college is in his or her future, what advice would you offer them about your college experience that can motivate them to submit that application or schedule a meeting with their counselor to discuss options?
Love this question. I'm pro HBCU all day. So number one, the most tangible advice I can give is to do your research. Do your research, do your research. So many people I met, which is a wonderful thing, but also I know how terrifying this can be. So many people I know have never visited their HBCU or their university, and they literally just went. And they end up loving it, but some people don't. So make sure you do your research. And that's just to say, I've never met anyone who doesn't love to go to FAMU. I just have to put that out there. But do your research, because that's so important. But also, please, 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 if you are interested in a historically Black college university, please take your talents to a Black school. The investments there are unmatched. The resources, the opportunities, the alumni networking, unmatched. It is, like Trey was saying earlier, it's a competitive environment that's also crafting, caring, and developing. So you have a peer that's doing great. You don't want to one up them. You're going to support them. You're going to want to collaborate, but you're going to want to be equally as great. So I'm telling you, it is the environment that is unmatched. And let's not even get into the culture aspect. The culture, when I got there all the way from Dallas, Texas to Florida, I wasn't worried about missing home. I wasn't worried about what I was eating. I was worried about sleeping. There's so much to do. The activities are so immense, and there's just so much to do that all you're worried about is just making sure that you can get some rest so you can keep it moving. So I'm telling you, I can sit here and talk about why it's so important to go to an HBCU all day, but do your research. And I'm telling you, please send your investments, your talents to an HBCU.
We have a very large community of HBCU alum here at AT&T, and I can tell you that they are all standing on their feet, giving you a standing ovation right now. And our VP, Michelle Jordan, who is a FAMU alum, her chest is sticking out right now. So yeah, she is quite happy right now with your shout out to FAMU and all the love that you've given. So we're coming up on a little bit of time, but I do want to make sure that I offer the opportunity for for our panelists to continue to answer some more of our questions. Lisa, how does the work that Levon's team is doing, how can that impact what your team does? And where do you see some intersectability, if any? Because what Levon's team is doing is phenomenal work.
No, absolutely. And it's about that partnership, Sharonda. And I think it's that partnership between you and I and Levon. I think we can all work together. I think the biggest thing that I would like folks to take away today is that we're dedicated. It is a priority for us. In that partnership, we want to ensure that we can grow it and sustain it. And so I think that partnership internal is just as important as external. And so I want to work with Levon and you, Sharonda, to continue this partnership and into success. And I think that it's our due diligence and our priority to do that with each other, internally and externally.
Awesome. And just want to let you guys know, if you have questions, we're coming up on Q&A time. So make sure you're sending those into the Q&A, submitting those into a Q&A so that we can ask your questions to the panelists. Lisa, I do have one other question for you. So just kind of going back to when we first started HBCU Future Leaders we launched back in February, or announced back in February, and had our first roundtable in April of 2021. And Corey Anthony was our moderator and presenter. He boldly asked if AT&T could view itself as a champion of diversity. This was not long after George Floyd was killed, and the nation was really in the midst of a character crisis. His response to that question was that AT&T was being proactive in our supportive programs like HBCU Future Leaders, but that there was so much work, that could be done. And here we are a year later, considering everything that's transpired in that year. Where do you think AT&T stands now in attracting HBCU and other diverse talent into the workforce? And should we still be doing more?
Absolutely, Sharonda. I think we can always still be doing more. I think that that's a part of why they stood this position up. I am the front door and the face of culture and talent for one of the largest organizations in AT&T, and we are building the largest network in the world. And so I think it's important, but I do think we're dedicated. It is a priority, and for them to stand at this opportunity up, and I'm leading this effort. I couldn't be more excited about it, but I do think we are dedicated to it, and it's only going to grow from here, Sharonda. I can't be more excited about it on camera right now, but y'all, if I could, I'd be doing cartwheels and cheerleading right now, because I'm super excited about the partnerships and the opportunity, and we just got started, Sharonda. So I do think it's important, and as we move forward, it's going to grow, and we're going to sustain it to success.
Awesome. I'm excited about it as well. Been in one of your meetings, and you are definitely excited. I love it. I love it. So again, so we're going to, I've been loving this conversation and the flow that we've had, but I did promise our audience that we would allow them an opportunity to ask a few questions. So now's your chance. Hopefully we have some questions already teed up. But if you haven't sent it in, go ahead and do that now. So Mario, do we have any questions for our panel? Oh, but before we just shoot to Mario, I just want to say, Mario, thank you so much for agreeing to help us with this. Thanks so much for agreeing to help with this. You being a Hampton University graduate, I know that HBCUs are HBCU love runs deep within. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to see to have a say in the conversation and how you're feeling so far.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here to support and hear this great discussion. It's really informative, and I can tell you I'm really proud as an HBCU alumni. FAMU was definitely on my list, and I attended Hampton University, Pirate Pride. I'm really proud of you guys. And also as an AT&T employee, seeing my peers and hearing about the great work that you all are doing, I'm just all really impressed and grateful to be where I am today. So we do have a few questions for you guys. First, we're going to start off with Trey. Not only were you a winner in Target's BHM Design Challenge, but in 2021, you were also named as a finalist for the inaugural class of Dreamin' Black, Rising Future Makers. Such an honor there. What do you think made you stand out among all of the submissions that Dreamin' Black team received, and how will you transition that distinction into bigger and better things?
All right, so thank you for that question. So I think what really made me stand out, among other applicants is just the story, that I told through my submission video. I really focused on, what I brought to the table as an individual, which is my creativity. I started up my own small creative business during my freshman year at Hampton University. And like I said earlier, that was from the direct inspiration that I received from the other Hampton University students. So I really made that clear in my video submission. I showed interactions with other Hampton students and just the things that I do with my peers and the legacy, that we're building at Hampton University, the impact that I'm able to have through my art. And just this experience, it's been everything, as an artist, to have my work represented, to feel like my voice is being heard. That's amazing. And, receiving opportunities like with Target, like with AT&T, it feels like these companies are really acknowledging our voices and are investing in our futures. So it's been amazing.
That's great to hear. And I can't wait to see what's next for you. We have another question in for Carrington. Hey, Carrington, St. Luke CUMC. This is Casher. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce Steve's name. Forgive me for butchering these names, but I will try. This is Carmen and Madison Will College. Miss Tina, welcome to AT&T. How would you encourage a high school senior who may be in doubt of a major attend college by Tina on March 3rd?
So the acronyms are my church back home, and I just got so happy. I love to hear that. So I think I understood the question. Basically, how could what advice could I give for a student who is not sure about attending college?
Yes,
okay.
Not sure about a major.
Oh, a major. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I feel like it is a little ambitious for an 18-year-old, 17-year-old to actually know what they want to do in life. So that was something that genuinely freaked me out because that's something in college that we still don't know what we want to do. So I think that, honestly, I'll give you two answers. Passion will drive you. Passion will take you so very far. So think of something that inspires you, think of something that makes you happy, and then look at a major that kind of is geared to that. But also, I'm going to tell you something else. Think about what the world is majoring in right now. I don't know if this is a passion, but you got to think of the way the world is leading. You got to think how technology is taking over. Healthcare is like so important. Think of what the world is majoring in and think of how you can fit in with your passions, how you can fit in to make that impact, and let that be what you major in. But don't feel so stuck and don't let it seem so real. I know sometimes it's so scary and it seems so real. But you can always change your mind, but just make sure it's something you genuinely enjoy.
Can I add to that as well?
Please.
Yeah. So Carrington hit it directly, on the head. I often tell people, what would you be doing in the future if you didn't have to worry about money? If you weren't thinking, this career isn't going to make me money, this isn't a feasible route. what would you be wanting to do? What would you do every single day, that brings you joy? Because like she said, passion at the end of the day is what's going to drive you. It's going to push you to do more and go be above and beyond the standard. It's more about just the 9 to 5 clocking in and out. So I say find your passion, and at this day and age, anything can be monetized. You have the internet. That is, figure out what other people are doing in that lane, figure out how you can make it uniquely yourself, and then perfect your craft.
I love those answers. I couldn't have said it better myself. As an undecided freshman, I changed my major sophomore year, and it didn't really halt my career at all. So while we have you up, Trey, we have a question for you. Are the sweatshirts available to us? Those are nice. Love this effort of HBCU awareness. So here's an opportunity for you to plug those shirts.
Yeah, so actually, so the hoodies were released back in January, at the beginning of January, and they were set to stay in stores through Black History Month. So you may still be able to find a couple online, a couple in store, but those were set for Black History Month. So let me know if you can find some.
I still have to find mine. Thank you. We have another question in here, and I'll leave this open to whoever wants to take go first on it. What recommendations do you have for college students to obtain an internship with AT&T?
I'll take that. I definitely feel like it's important to make connections, and programs like these, seminars like these are your opportunity to do so. You're one step closer to getting an advocate who can speak on your behalf for internships and other programs that we have at AT&T. Definitely go out on the website, sign up for the alerts, plan ahead is what we kind of tell the students that we work with. Have your resume together, know that, okay, internships are going to start heating up around the fall. So be ready at the end of the summer with all of your tools that you need to go in and secure an internship. Reach out to anybody whose path you've crossed, and just, be real about it. Just say, hey, I want to learn more. I want to know, what you think of my strengths or my weaknesses. How can I better prepare myself to enter the race to get an internship? Internships are very competitive, but we have a lot of different programs. So definitely don't be shy to reach out. And just piggybacking on what Lisa said about networking, definitely take advantage of any opportunity to do so. It's something that I probably didn't do very early in my career, but it's also something that people in our culture probably don't have it in them innately to want to network. But you need to know it's okay to do so, and this is exactly what you need to do to get opportunities. So just reach out if you need anything. Any of us are happy to help.
I'll say something. Oh, go ahead.
Go for it, Carrington.
Okay, I was just going to say, because I had the privilege of interning with the AT&T last summer. So, of course, all these skills, just make sure that you're getting some experience, or you beef up your resume to make it seem like, right? Not saying that it's not true, but just make it seem like, and let them know that you are the most qualified candidate for what they are seeking for. But something super important is that you have to be so flexible and malleable and able to listen and adapt and to soak up everything you can, because I think my experiences helped me get through the door, but what helped me stay through the door and excel was the fact that I was a shapeable intern. I was able to listen. I was able to learn quickly and to grasp and to be there. But about the interviewing process, of course, when you do any interview, but AT&T, I'm telling you, this company is just so friendly. I feel like my interview was just so fun. They genuinely were like, I'm not going to look at you like you're a little girl, but I'm going to look at you as a potential peer, a potential co-worker. So I'm telling you, take advantage of that interviewing process as well, because we were laughing. They were like, okay, we're going to let you go. I don't want you to go, but we'll see you later. So just have fun. They're looking for you and you're looking for them. So do it.
I would just add to that, so something that LaVon said is to start the process early. Internships are decided in late winter here at AT&T, meaning, a lot of decisions are being made early in the year. So when you go back to school, like LaVon said, make sure that you're preparing for those applications. That application process opens up in the fall. Lean on your community, lean on folks who work at AT&T, call them up and ask them or email them to say, hey, do you know of any internship opportunities? Go to att.jobs. That's where all of the internships are being listed for all of the jobs for the summertime. So just be aware, do your research, and make sure that you're on top of it, because before you know it, the summer will be here. So you just want to be prepared and ready.
Thank you. We got 3 great perspectives there. Our next question is for Lisa. Lisa, how do recent graduates connect with you to get an opportunity on your team?
I can give you my email address right now. I'm looking for those candidates. So email me, contact me. We can provide that afterwards, Sharonda, if that's okay. I'm really looking for folks that are passionate, and I call myself an empathy change agent. I'm looking for those folks that want to get in on this team with me and really drive a difference within culture and how we view talent, whether that is bringing new talent in the diversity or if it's retaining our talent. So I'm looking for anybody that wants to get in and be empathetic with me and be inclusive with me and really take a different look at this. I do think we have a moment in time to pause and pivot. That's what I've been calling it with me sitting in this seat. And so I'm looking for all kinds of candidates for my team because I do want to build this to success, and I want to look at it from all angles. And so back to what Sharonda said, rubber meets the road. It's just important to me to look at it from a broad stroke to ensure that we have transparency and visibility, and so that everybody knows that we're advocating and we're supporting for our employees, whether they are new or whether they're internal to AT&T. So give them my information, Sharonda. I'm okay with that. And I want them to contact me. I'm looking forward to that conversation. That just got me really excited. Thanks.
Thank you. Love to hear it. And I can echo that, what Lisa said. Going through a leadership development program, I've done a lot of networking and reaching out to people at AT&T and when I was an intern, and they're all really responsive and ready to support, give you information, and connect you to the next person. So definitely you tap into that network. So our next question is for Carrington. So another opportunity to highlight some of your accomplishments. You indicated that during your downtime, you're working on a documentary depicting segregation and the railroad during the late 1800s. Tell me a little bit more about that project and why it was important for you to tell that Black historical moment.
Yeah, thank you for this question. So ever since I was a little girl, like I told you guys a little bit earlier, I heard about some stories, but when I got older and I started about to start FAMU as a freshman, they told me that my grandmother would ride the train up from Tampa, Florida, all the way to Tallahassee, Florida, get off the train and walk all the way up the hill to go to her dorm, like with all her bags. Like that's what she did. And so, but it was this notation of the train tracks of that side and this side, their side, our side. So from what I was told back in the day, and I've been doing my history, is the state of Florida said, I'm going to grant this side north of the tracks, the Florida State University side, and I'm going to grant this side as the Negro side is what they called it, right, for the Black students. So another reason that historically Black colleges and universities are so important because it was the only place that Black people could get educated. So it's super important. So my documentary just basically is exposing the implemented segregation tactics of railroads in almost every city across America. So it's the same connotation of this side and that side, us and them. So it's something I've always been excited about, but it happened to be a class project. So I was like, oh, yes. So I got legislators' perspectives. I got senators. I got, a lot of intimate perspectives of women who have been in this community on the south side of the tracks. who had lots of stories to tell about how like it was segregated. And right now it's a local project, but doing my research, I literally can see a track in almost every city we probably set foot in. And so I just hope that it can expand to be greater, because we have to exploit these tactics and we have to dismantle them, because sometimes you can still see the clear distinction of resources on this side, and all these just clear distinctions of what's given to one and what's not given to the other. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I'm excited for you all to see actually when we finish.
Awesome. I love to hear that you found that passion for the assignment. And, you know, it's really important that we continue to tell those stories and all of the Black history. So the next question is for Trey and for Carrington. We would like to know more about what you guys have going on now and what's up next.
I can start us off. Yeah. So currently, I'm a third year architecture student. So I'm currently still, learning more about the profession itself. I'm going out for internships this summer. So that's very exciting. I'm excited to learn more about what building typology I want to go into. And then I also have my business, my small creative business. And a lot of people often ask me, Trey, what are you going to end up doing ultimately? You have this passion for design, but you also are studying architecture. So what are you going to do? And I often tell them, like, at the end of the day, it's all design. There's so much overlap between the two. So I'm very excited to see how I can kind of merge these two passions that I'm developing into a professional field that really resonates with me and allows me to continue to do what I love. Because at the end of the day, that's what's most important.
Great. That's awesome, Trey.
Yeah, that evolution is great. And I also know architecture student who took that into the production world, and he's designing sets in Hollywood. So
many different avenues you can tap into within architecture.
All right. And Carrington?
I was going to say also, like, being one of the 25 Rising Future Makers is awesome too, because when Trey told us about this opportunity, we all were like, okay, we're running a Target. We tried to plan a day so we can all wear it together. Like, we're so excited for each other. But actually something I haven't shared with anyone is that I just got accepted into the London School of Economics. So it's a dual degree program, 1 year in London and 1 year in LA. And I'm super scared. I'm super nervous, but I know that it's going to be, it might just be what I need to do. So for that experience. So that probably is my next move, doing that dual degree program. And then also this summer, I hope to have an internship in DC. So just to get some more like experience with politics and the governmental aspects. So that's what's next for me.
That is really awesome. I love the fact that you're getting that abroad experience. So next, we're going to toss it back to the AT&T side. And this is for Levon. What's the response been like for your program at the schools?
It's varied because of the pandemic and Zoom fatigue. Students are very busy with their schedules. Students are worn out from Zooming. So it has varied, but we have had consistent participation. Sometimes we can have a session and there could be up to 75 people on the call, and sometimes we've hit spring break or something, and it's been as low as about 15. But I think the bottom line is that the participants and the presenters, like our HR partners, like Amber Anderson and Seth Iwu and Jeff Ezell, all of the people who present have been there ready, and we understand. Just to say that there's low participation, it doesn't mean we're giving up. Any impact that we can make is a positive impact. And this is a marathon, not a race, right? It's going to take a while. So we're happy to do whatever we can, regardless of how many people come.
Thank you for that. All right, we have one more question here for Carrington. When will we see your film?
So it was due, but now we're just in the final production stages. So I'll make sure that we can get this film out. And it is a short documentary. It's a 3-minute documentary. I'm going to submit it also for awards, hopefully. So fingers crossed. But it's almost here. So I'll just please follow up with me on social media or whatever, so I can make sure I can get the film out to you.
Thank you. Perfect. All right. So thank you guys for all of the questions, and thanks for all of the answers. At this point, I'm going to toss it back over to Sharonda.
Thank you so much, Mario. These great Q&A session, really informative questions and answers. And I'm super excited about what lies ahead for our students, as well as what lies ahead for the programs that AT&T is working on. I do hope that you've enjoyed the roundtable today. As I said, I'm especially overjoyed to have been able to bring these amazing students to the table to allow you to hear and see for yourselves the outstanding diverse talent that makes up the HBCU community. As AT&T continues to lean into unleashing the power of diversity, equity, and inclusion, every day we get closer to the goal of creating a sense of belonging and empowerment for all. Now, you may be asking, what can you do to amplify the DE&I message? It's really simple. Connect and invest. AT&T will be welcoming a new class of summer interns this May. Excuse me, y'all. They will need mentors, sponsors, and advocates to help build that path to success. Connect with them through the HBCU Future Leaders Program. Invest in them. Be a resource of knowledge, leadership, and guidance. I appreciate all of you for joining this very important conversation today. Thanks to our audience for asking such insightful questions to the roundtable. Now, please don't forget to complete the survey, and you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
To learn more about AT&T, subscribe to this channel, visit the AT&T newsroom, or watch more videos in the playlist seen here.